Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today we're going to talk about a man in California who was arrested and charged with a felony for possessing a standard capacity magazine in California that he says he purchased on Freedom Week. So let's talk about it. This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link in the description box, become a member, and donate when you can, and be part of the fight for our Second Amendment rights. And while you're down in the description box, click the link for the USCCA. I've been a member for about 3 or 4 years now, and it is excellent peace of mind. If you happen to be in a defensive situation where you had to use a firearm, they will bail you out of jail, they will get you one of the best lawyers that money can buy, and they will take care of you. So in order to ensure your freedom after something happens, make sure you become a member like I am. Now, first things first, you have to give credit where credit is due, and this video topic was brought to my attention by my subscribers after watching a video from Reno May, who originally covered the topic. So I decided to take this on, dive into it, do a little bit more research, and find out exactly what's going on here. But you have a gentleman by the name of Phen Yang. He had a 15-round pistol magazine, and after law enforcement found it, they arrested him and charged him with felony possession of a high-capacity magazine in California, even though he says he purchased it during Freedom Week, which would make it completely legal. So here's how it went down. His brother is on parole. His brother happens to live in the same house, which kind of opens you up to being searched, okay? When somebody is on parole, the police can come in and they can search the property because of that parolee, and that's what happened. The police came in, they searched the property, they find the 15-round magazine in Phen Yang's room. So not in the parolee's area, but in Phen Yang's room. They find that 15-round capacity magazine, they arrest him, they charge him with a felony, and he's actually already been to court on this one. The crazy thing is, the judge actually decided to hear the case even after the Freedom Week argument was made, and even after the law enforcement officer that arrested Phen Yang admitted that he had heard of Freedom Week and he kind of had a basic understanding of what Freedom Week was.
He said he had purchased them during Freedom Week.
And what is Freedom Week?
Freedom Week, I believe, was a 1 week in 2019 where you were allowed to legally purchase a high capacity or large capacity magazine.
Now, just in case you don't know what it is, it's very important to this case. Let me go ahead and break down California Freedom Week for you real quick. Judge Roger T. Benitez, who is a federal judge for the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, he decided to issue an injunction in California's magazine capacity ban, okay, magazine capacity limitations, allowing anybody during that time period while the injunction was in place to buy, sell, manufacture, transport magazines of any capacity. Now, California stepped in and asked for a stay, and the same judge issued that stay a week later. But when he issued the stay, he said that anybody who had purchased a magazine that could hold more than 10 rounds, which is a limit in California during that time period, could keep them and use them legally. That means that if you bought something during what Californians call Freedom Week, then you could keep it. You could keep it. You could use it. It's perfectly legal. And that is what Phen Yang is saying that he did. He's saying that he bought that 15-round magazine during Freedom Week, which means he was allowed to have it.
He left the injunction in place. It bars enforcement of Penal Code Section 32310 for persons like my client who obtained their magazines during Freedom Week.
So now that you understand a little bit about Freedom Week, let me explain to you guys what happened after Mr. Yang was arrested. Now, Mr. Yang has already had a day in court. Not his day in court to where he can actually defend himself against the charges, but a day in court to determine whether or not the case was going to move forward. And after watching the court footage, I thought for sure this was going to get thrown out. I thought 100% this is going to get thrown out because you had the sheriff's deputy on the stand saying that he understood, or he at least knew of what Freedom Week was. And then you had the attorney for Mr. Yang saying that the burden of proof is on California and that it was perfectly legal to buy him during this time period, and that's what Mr. Yang did, and so forth. I thought there's no way that the judge is going to hear this because it's clear that he didn't break any law, and the burden of proof being on California means they're going to have to find out who, when, and where he bought this thing from, and I just didn't see it going forward. But this judge, who is clearly could care less about the law, clearly has a chip on her shoulder, and clearly has an agenda, actually decided to move forward with this case, which is just completely shocking to me. Now, I remember it wasn't that long ago. I got an email from a guy out in Ventura, and he was out shooting. He had his magazines confiscated from him by the Ventura County Sheriff's Department. So he writes me an email, tells me what happened. I make a video about it, talk to you guys about it. He gets a bunch of support. The FBC jumps in, and not only did he end up getting his magazines back from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, but the sheriff himself actually wrote a letter and an apology for even seizing his magazines, because at the time there wasn't a clear understanding of exactly what the rules were around Freedom Week. So he was never arrested, but they did confiscate his magazines. Not only did he get them back, but he actually got an apology from the sheriff. In this case, this guy was actually arrested, taken to jail. Now, after the judge determined that their case was going to go forward, they sent him home on his own recognizance. So they went ahead and they sent him home. He's not sitting in jail right now, but this guy actually has a fight in front of him, and guess what? These things are expensive. It's expensive to defend yourself in court. So now this guy's entire life has been turned upside down because of a judge's unwillingness to see exactly what's going on here, and an unwillingness to acknowledge that he was within his rights to do what he did.
People of the state of California have the burden of proof. If they're going to charge you with committing a crime, I think it's incumbent on them to prove that it happened some time other than Freedom Week.
Now, during Freedom Week and immediately after Freedom Week, I got a lot of emails from people saying, hey, do I need to keep my receipt? Do I keep my receipt for the purchase? And if I lose my receipt, what happens then? How do I prove that I bought them during Freedom Week? Try and keep in mind that the burden of proof is not on you. So if you're watching this right now and maybe you're panicking a little bit because you lost your receipt, you don't have any proof that you purchased these during Freedom Week, the burden of proof is on the state. They have to prove that you did not buy those during Freedom Week. Now, yes, it's definitely beneficial to have the receipt. So if you, let's say that you put in your order day 3 of Freedom Week, right? And you have that receipt for the day 3 of Freedom Week, that's definitely going to help, because that can be used as evidence and proof that you bought them during that time, and you can provide that, which would definitely help prove that you bought them during Freedom Week and get you off the hook. But if you don't have them, the state is supposed to prove that you didn't. And if they can't prove where you bought them, when you bought them, and how you bought them, then you're done. You're off, okay? That is how this is supposed to work. So if it works in any other way, then it's working against the law as it is right now. And so it's just a tragedy to see what's happening to people out there because of ignorant law enforcement and either corrupt or just judges with an agenda. I feel very sorry for what's happening with him. Hopefully everything works out. Based on what I'm seeing so far, he should get off. That's the way that I'm seeing it, but, I'll follow this as it goes down the road. But, just be aware, be careful, know the facts, know the law, educate yourself, read up on it, read Benitez's ruling, read his order, so that if something like this happens, you have the knowledge to back up any claims that you may need to make if law enforcement rolls up on you and they don't know. Because, it's expensive, it's time consuming, and it's definitely a problem to be charged with a felony for sure. This guy's charged with a felony. If he's actually convicted, he loses his Second Amendment rights completely. So this is a pretty big fight for him, and I think we should all stand behind him. This is absolutely terrible what's happening here. So anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.